Ladies and gentlemen, I'm meadsy69. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to look at a tank that you never ever see. I exaggerate. It's not that you never ever see it, but it is a tank that you hardly ever see. And what's interesting about this tank, it is a tech tree tier 10. Normally you see all tier 10s, no matter if they're premium tanks, unless they are extremely rare, but no matter if they're premium tanks or collectible tanks or tech tree tanks, you see tier 10s everywhere, especially tech tree tanks. You see them everywhere. This tank has never, ever, since it was released, it's never been a popular tank. Why? Because personally, I love this tank. I really do love the tank. Of course, it is the WZ. The WZ-113 GFT, the Chinese tank destroyer. But yeah, it's just a tank that is not played, and it's very rarely played. People prefer other tank destroyers, of course. Now, people do compare this to the Object 268, and they'll sit there and say, why would you drive this when you could drive an Object 268? I love all tanks, you know, I love this tank, I love the Object 268, but I do think they are sort of played differently. The Object 268 has kind of like the speed, that you can kind of play it different. And this is more like a heavy tank destroyer. The armor profile, not fantastic, but you can make it work. You can make the armor profile work. So you have 230 millimeters of frontal armor. So yeah, again, it's not going to withdraw every shot, but you can actually get some bounces on this thing. You've got the DPM with just over 3,000. So yeah, pretty decent DPM for what it is. And that is a 12.8 second on reload time. Your penetration is 290 on your AP and 375 on your heat. Now you can run this with calibrated shells and get around about 400 pen. So that's a crazy amount of pen. One of the best in the game, in fact. But I think 375 is enough to get through just about anything. So I would rather that DPM, because I just don't think it needs that extra pen. If you want to run it with the extra pen, then by all means run it with that extra pen, because of course you do want to, every shot you take, you do want to guarantee your shot, otherwise it could lose games. But I run it with the rammer just to get that DPM. So you do have a 640 alpha on your AP, 550 on your heat, and 960 on your HE. So again, you could run the calibrated shells just to up that HE a little bit, because that is a very nice amount of damage. 960 with the HE. The aim time 4.1, nothing special, kind of average for what it is. The gun dispersion isn't actually that bad at 0.321. You've got only 6 degrees of gun depression with a top speed of 38 kilometers an hour. So it's not like a really slow tank, but it's also not like a crazy fast tank. How to play the tank? Now, it's a very difficult how you want to play the tank, because you kind of like, do I sit at the back of the map? Because it is kind of like an Object 268. Like, is it worth sitting at the back of the map and farming, or is it worth pushing quite far forward? Now, of course, however you want to play, it is a proper tank destroyer. So if you want to sit at the back of the map, as long as you've got shots off, then yeah, do so. Because yeah, it doesn't have crazy armor and it doesn't have crazy speed. So yeah, you can sit at the back of the map and farm. But when you get maps like this one, for example, I can't just sit at the back of the map. So I am going to push further forward. And sometimes you can do that. Sometimes it does pay off if you play quite aggressive. But yeah, if you do play aggressive, just make sure you've got that support. Always make sure you've got the support, because if you haven't, you're not going to last very long. So I do have that support. Look at the minimap. As I've said in a previous video, the minimap is your friend. Like, the minimap is your best friend. And I know I've got a lot of cover. A little bit to my left, a little bit to the right, and of course quite a few tanks behind me. So I'm just going to sit here and cap a base. Why not? Yes, we've caught base B, but I want to put more pressure on the team. Having 2 bases will put a lot of pressure on the enemy team. So now no one's pushing at the moment. I want to get the shots off on the 1-2-1. As soon as he backs up, I do manage to get the shot off, and then I'm going to try and hide. And as you can see, the armor can work, especially against those medium tanks. But yeah, you've got to look at them. If you don't, they will penetrate you very, very easily from your side and from, of course, from the rear. So there's quite a few tanks at the moment. We're going to get the Hori there. Luckily for me, he's not going to look at me at all. So there goes the 1-2-1. The Hori's pushing as soon as the 1-2-1 dies. So not the best of decisions from that guy. And we're just going to get another shot, and we do manage to kill him. But yeah, the enemy are actually doing really good sat at the back. It's now a 4 versus 4. See, I do get penned. I mean, he doesn't do that much damage, so of course I do want to push this guy, but then I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm not going to push you just yet, Sunshine, because there are a lot of tanks. But I can see the Death Star's not looking. I did want to get the shot on the Sheridan, but while I'm here, I did want to get on the shot on the Death Star, but sadly, right at the last second, he does take a shot, and because of my angles, because I was backing up, he should have actually used HE or Hesh, and he would have been able to penetrate me. But I know he's reloading. Beautiful HE shot there into the waffle, and he's now pretty much dead. So it is a 4 versus 3. So yeah, it's not over yet, because there goes the object, there goes the leopard, and all of a sudden it's a 2 versus 3. So luckily we did catch the bases just to put that extra bit of pressure. But I'm a one shot. There's a Sheridan and a Death Star. That Death Star's a one shot, like, to that Death Star. So it's not game over at the minute. And as soon as the Sheridan comes around, I managed to get that lucky bounce. I would have still stayed alive, but I did get that bounce, and our Death Star kills the Death Star. So overall, it wasn't a bad battle. I didn't do the crazy amount of damage, and I didn't get the Mastery Badge either. I think I got first class this game, but we still managed to block 1,500 damage, which I don't think is too bad. So yeah, it's not the it's not the most difficult tank to master. As long as you perform well, as long as you do the damage, maybe get some supremacy points, it really is sort of quite an easy tank to master, to be fair, because again, not a lot of people do play the tank. So this is where I did sort of mess up a little bit. I mean, look at me, I'm like one of the first forward. I did expect the tanks to be here, but I did expect a little bit more support. Now my whole team are sort of around, where are they? They're somewhere. If you look at the minimap, they are somewhere. But there goes the U-75, and they're all there. So I didn't expect them to go all there, which is why I wanted to push here originally, because I expected them to go sort of around here. If they would have went around there and started pushing, then I would have actually been in a much better position. But I'm going to push forward. Again, this is a mistake from myself. There is 3 tank destroyers, and only one of them spotted there. So that is, again, a stupid mistake from me. I should have sort of known that there's 2 tank destroyers that are not spotted. They could be there. But yeah, it's a very difficult battle, because none of my team sort of wanted to push. You've got the Minotauro there. He's losing hit points, but all my team are just sat and they're not doing anything. Like, I want them to support me this side of the map. I've got no gun depression. I can't get on the ridge. So the only way now that I'm going to do any good is if they decide to push over the ridge. But yeah, I would have liked just a little bit more support from my team rather than just sit there. I mean, they're not moving. If they would have just supported me a little bit more, then we could have actually had this game in the bag. So the ST1 is a one shot. The E100 is there. Now, the biggest thing for me now is not this E100 and not the ST1, it's that E100. That is the one that's going to cause me a lot of issues, because as you can see, I'm just trying to sort of focus on the E100 to my right. I took a shot from this guy, and yeah, it did sort of catch me off guard, and it's kind of ruined my game, because now he's there, I can't move. I'm literally behind a rock, and I can't move because of that E100 right there. If he wasn't there, I would have been able to clear this E100, then I would have probably been able to push forward to clear the ST1. Again, I've got no gun depression, so I can't even move. Again, I'm trying to deal with the ST. The E100 comes, and yeah, he take the shot. I'm now a one shot. The ST1 is there. I am going to bounce on him. So I have bounced at the moment 920 damage, and there now goes to 1,400. And I'm last alive. 6 tanks, no chance whatsoever. So it is very frustrating. And again, as you can see, when you don't have that support, it's not like the best tanks. But overall, I love the tank. It definitely should be played more, but it's just one of those tier 10s that people just don't want to play. And there we go. So I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Are you one of those guys that actually like the tank? Do you enjoy playing the tank? Or is it a tank that you have no interest in playing whatsoever? But for now, I hope you enjoyed today's video. I'm Meadsy, and I'll catch you all soon. Bye-bye. With